Alyssa, one of the big challenges for managers over the last couple of years has been employee onboarding. It's something I've really noticed that companies had these great onboarding programs that were perfect as long as employees were working face to face. But with so many companies moving to remote and hybrid forms of work, I'm finding managers are really struggling. What advice could we offer?
Well, let's start with the basics. Really, there are two primary goals in onboarding. First is to make sure that you get the information to employees that employees need. But second, it's to make sure that the people that you're bringing on board are developing relationships with the right people in the organization.
I think that first goal about getting new hires information, that one's pretty straightforward because you can deliver information through Zoom lectures or through short videos. That's not so hard. And you could make it very engaging. For example, a company could design a scavenger hunt where new hires have to search for information through the company's web pages. In fact, I think that kind of delivery might be even more engaging than some of those really long, boring lectures we used to see in face-to-face onboarding.
You're right. Building relationships is the harder goal. Once relationships are established, it's easy to maintain those remotely, but it's really making sure that they get started in the very beginning. And organizations have to be really deliberate about that when you have onboarding that's remote. So there are a couple of things that organizations are trying out. One thing that organizations are trying out is to have the colleagues of the new employee make these introductory videos and share them with their new employee before the day even begins, their first day on the job. And wouldn't it be great to see what your colleagues look like and what they sound like before you even start? Other companies are doing things like coffee roulette, where you get to spin the dial and have coffee with somebody new once a week in some part of the organization. So those are some ways that organizations are playing around with getting people connected to the other people in the organization.
And some companies are also using onboarding buddies. An onboarding buddy is a more experienced coworker who's ready to share what they know with the new hire. Isn't it great to know that there is somebody standing by, ready to answer your questions, even those silly little questions that you might be reluctant to ask your own manager? And what's really great about onboarding buddies is they can be used in any environment, whether you're onboarding face-to-face or remotely.
Buddies are a great idea to get that onboarding ball rolling, but we have to really often remind managers that onboarding is a process. It's the most intense in the first 90 days, but it can take up to 2 years. So managers really need to make sure that those remote employees aren't out of sight, out of mind.
Okay, so let's see. We've got make sure that the new hire has the information that they need, help the new hire develop relationships within the organization, and stay in touch with the new hire over time.
That's onboarding in a nutshell.